Many have the misconception or lack of understanding as to how Yahuwah could ask someone to sacrifice his only son. Well, in this video, we'll discuss the truth of the reason behind Isaac or Yitzhak's to be sacrificed by Abraham. The Book of Yasher, chapter 22, 40 through 71. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, was growing up in those days, and Abraham his father taught him the ways of Elohim, to know Elohim, and Elohim was with him. And when Isaac was 37 years old, Ishmael his brother was going about with him in the tent. And Ishmael boasted of himself to Isaac, saying, I was 13 years old when Elohim spoke to my father to circumcise us, and I did according to the word of Elohim, which he spoke to my father, and I gave my soul unto Elohim, and I did not transgress his word, which he commanded my father. And Isaac answered Ishmael, saying, Why dost thou boast to me about this, about a little bit of flesh, which thou didst take from thy body, concerning which Yahuwah commanded thee? As Yahuwah liveth, the Elohim of my father Abraham, if Yahuwah should say unto my father, Take now thy son Isaac, and bring him up an offering before me, I would not refrain, but I would joyfully accede to it. And Yahuwah heard the words that Isaac spoke to Ishmael, and it seemed good in the sight of Elohim, and he thought to try Abraham in this manner. So we see from the interaction between Ishmael and Isaac that this notion came from the mouth of Isaac confessing his devotion to Yahuwah, while his brother Ishmael was boasting in his face. And the day arrived when the sons of Elohim came and placed themselves before Yahuwah, and the wicked one also came with the sons of Elohim before Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said unto the wicked one, Whence comest thou? And the wicked one answered Yahuwah and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up it and down it. And Yahuwah said to the wicked one, What is thy word to me concerning all the children of the earth? And the wicked one answered Yahuwah and said, I have seen all the children of the earth who serve thee, and remember thee when they require anything from thee. And when thou givest them the things which they require from thee, they sit at their ease and forsake thee, and they remember thee no more. Hast thou seen Abraham, the son of Terah, who at first had no children, and he served thee, erected altars to thee whenever he came, and he brought up offerings upon them, and he proclaimed thy name continually to all the children of the earth? And now that his son Isaac is born to him, he has forsaken thee. He has made a great feast for all the inhabitants of the land, and Yahuwah he has forgotten. For amidst all that he has done, he brought thee no offering, neither burnt offering, nor peace offering, neither ox, lamb, nor goat of all that he killed on the day that his son was weaned. Even from the time of his son's birth till now, being 37 years, he built no altar before thee, nor brought any offering to thee, for he saw that thou didst give what he requests before thee, and he therefore forsook thee. And Yahuwah said to the wicked one, Hast thou considered my servant Abraham? For there is none like him upon earth, a perfect and upright man before me, one that feareth Yahuwah, and avoideth evil. As I live, where I too say unto him, Bring up Isaac thy son before me, he would not withhold him from me. Much more, if I told him to bring up a burnt offering before me from his flock or herds. And the wicked one answered Yahuwah and said, Speak then now unto Abraham, as thou hast said, and thou wilt see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside thy words. At that time the word of Yahuwah came to Abraham, and he said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Here I am. And he said to him, Take now thy son, thy only son, whom thou lovest, even Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which shall be shown to thee. For there wilt thou see a cloud and the glory of Elohim. Now, along the journey the wicked one tried many times to deceive Abraham and Isaac, to make them deviate from Yahuwah's commands, to make them transgress, but he was unable. They arrived at the place where Isaac should be sacrificed and began preparations. The Book of Yasher, chapter 23, 66-71. At that time the angel of mercy came before Yahuwah, and spake to him concerning Isaac, saying, O Yahuwah, thou art a merciful and compassionate king over all that thou hast created in heaven and in earth, and thou supportest them all. Give therefore ransom and redemption instead of thy servant Isaac, and pity and have compassion upon Abraham and Isaac his son, who are this day performing thy commands. Hast thou seen, O Yahuwah, how Isaac the son of Abraham thy servant is bound down to the slaughter like an animal? Now therefore let thy pity be rose for them, O Yahuwah. At that time Yahuwah appeared unto Abraham, and called to him from the heavens, and said unto him, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest Yahuwah in performing this act, and in not withholding thy son, thy only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw, and behold, a ram was caught in a thicket by its horns. That was the ram which Yahuwah had created in the earth in the day that he made earth and heaven. For Yahuwah had prepared this ram from that day to be a burnt offering instead of Isaac. And this ram was advancing to Abraham, when the wicked one caught hold of him and entangled his horns in the thicket, that he might not advance to Abraham, in order that Abraham might slay his son. And Abraham, seeing the ram advancing to him, and the wicked one withholding him, fetched him and brought him before the altar. And he loosened his son Isaac from his binding, and he put the ram in his stead. And Abraham killed the ram upon the altar, and brought it up as an offering in the place of his son Isaac. And Abraham sprinkled some of the blood of the ram upon the altar, and he exclaimed and said, This is in the place of my son, and may this be considered this day as the blood of my son before Yahuwah. And all that Abraham did on this occasion by the altar, he would exclaim and say, This is in the room of my son, and may it this day be considered before Yahuwah in the place of my son. And Abraham finished the whole of the service by the altar, and the service was accepted before Yahuwah, and was accounted as if it had been Isaac. And Yahuwah blessed Abraham and his seed on that day. So I hope this clears up any misconceptions about Abraham to sacrifice Isaac being immoral or cruel, with the misunderstanding of how could Yahuwah ask one to sacrifice his son. We must always remember that Yahuwah is loving, compassionate, merciful, and mighty. Although words cannot sum up Yahuwah's greatness, holy and righteous are his judgments and statutes. Blessed be Yahuwah forever and ever. Amen. To you and yours, Shabbat Shalom.